Once upon a time, there was a teen who brushed his teeth every night. He would get all the toothpaste on his toothbrush, and brush and brush and brush until his teeth were clean. Then he would spit the toothpaste into the sink, rinse his mouth with water, and go to bed. One night, after he had brushed his teeth and he looked up at his reflection in the mirror, he noticed something strange. His reflection hadn't moved. But how could that be? He had been standing in front of the mirror the whole time, so why hadn't his reflection moved when he moved? At first he thought it was just some kind of weird trick of the light. Maybe the room was too dark, or maybe the mirror was dirty. But as he continued to stare at his reflection, he realized that it wasn't moving at all. No matter what he did, his reflection remained perfectly still. He tried making funny faces. He stuck his tongue out and made his eyes as big as he could. He even tried to wink. But no matter what he did, his reflection never changed. He felt like he was going crazy. What was going on here? Was he having a stroke? Was he dead? No, he could feel his heart beating in his chest. And if he was dead, wouldn't he know it? Plus, he could still see his reflection, so that ruled out the possibility of him being blind. So what was going on? After a few minutes of trying to figure out why his reflection wouldn't move, he gave up and went to bed. But the next morning when he woke up, he couldn't stop thinking about his reflection. Why didn't it move? Was it a sign of something more serious? He decided to ask his mom. Maybe she knew something about mirrors. When he told her about what had happened the night before, she smiled and said not to worry. She explained that sometimes when people look into a mirror, their reflections don't move because they're not looking hard enough. She told him to try again that night and to really focus on his reflection. That night, the boy brushed his teeth in front of the mirror again, but this time, he paid extra close attention to his reflection. He tried everything he could to make it move, but nothing worked. No matter how fast he moved, his reflection didn't budge. Just as he was about to give up, he noticed something strange. His reflection blinked. He rubbed his eyes and looked again. Yes. His reflection blinked again, and then it started to smile. At first, the smile was small, but then it grew bigger and bigger until it was from ear to ear. The boy tried to stop smiling, but he couldn't. He wanted to scream, but no sound came out. Then he tried to wave his hand in front of his face. Sure enough, the reflection waved back. This continued for a few moments until suddenly the boy felt a sharp pain in his chest. He gasped and fell to the floor. When he looked up, he saw that his reflection had stepped out of the mirror. It was standing in front of him and it was smiling. The boy tried to speak, but no sound came out. He tried to move, but he couldn't. He felt like he was trapped inside his own body. Then the reflection reached out and grabbed him by the collar. It pulled him closer and closer until their faces were inches apart. The boy's eyes widened in horror as he realized what was happening. He was being pulled into the mirror. As he was dragged through the glass, he saw his reflection disappear. In its place was a distorted version of himself, one that was evil and twisted. Then everything went black. The boy woke up with a gasp. He was lying on the bathroom floor, and the mirror in front of him was covered in shards of glass. As he slowly got to his feet, he saw his reflection standing in the broken pieces of the mirror. It was smiling. The boy backed away, but there was nowhere to go. The walls were closing in on him, and he could feel the presence of his reflection getting closer and closer. Then he noticed something strange. His reflection wasn't moving. It was frozen in place. He stared at it for a moment, trying to figure out what was wrong. Then he realized that it was only looking at him. Its eyes were fixed on him, and it wasn't blinking. He could feel the darkness consuming him, and he knew that if he didn't do something, he would be trapped forever. So he did the only thing he could think of. He closed his eyes and turned away. As he did, he heard a loud crash, and then silence. He slowly opened his eyes and turned back to the mirror. His reflection was gone. In its place was a puddle of water. The boy stared at the puddle for a moment, trying to figure out what had happened. Then he heard a noise behind him. He turned around and saw his toothbrush lying on the floor. It was covered in blood. The boy screamed and ran out of the bathroom. He didn't know what was happening. He didn't know how his reflection had escaped the mirror, but he knew that whatever it wasn't good. He ran down the hallway and into his bedroom. He locked the door behind him and hid under his bed. He stayed there for hours, listening for any sign of movement outside the room. But there was nothing. Eventually he got bored and came out from under the bed. He looked around the room, but everything seemed normal. There was nothing out of the ordinary anywhere. He went to his bathroom and looked in the mirror. His reflection was back and it was smiling. He backed away from the mirror, but it followed him. He tried to run away, but it was no use. His reflection was everywhere, and it was always smiling. And that's when he realized that the reflection didn't just blink first, it also smiled first. Every time he smiled, his reflection smiled back at him, even when he didn't want to. Even when he tried to hide his smile, his reflection still knew. And that's when he knew that he had to stop smiling. But how could he do that? How could he stop his reflection from smiling back at him? The answer he soon discovered was to stop smiling altogether. It wasn't easy, though. It took a lot of effort to keep a straight face all the time, but eventually he got used to it. And as he did, he noticed that his reflection began to fade away. It became weaker and weaker until finally it disappeared altogether. And that's when he knew that he had one. And please subscribe for more content.